Hey guys, glad you could join me. Today we're going to be looking at Sidewinder by Avenged Sevenfold. We're going to be looking at the acoustic solos at the end of the song, so let's take a look. Okay, so as per usual, Avenged Sevenfold are in drop D tuning, which is D, A, D, G, B, E. So get yourself in tune and we'll get started. Alright guys, let's have a look at the first section. I'll play it slowly and then we'll work through it together. Alright, so I'm starting from the 6th fret of the B string, and I'm going 6-5 on the 2nd string, and then going to 7 of the 3rd. And then from there, I'm just working up the scale and back. So that little bit then I just did goes 5, 6, 8 on the 2nd string, and then 5 of the 1st, and then 8, 6, 5 on the 2nd. So we're just working our way forwards and back. And then I want to resolve that on 7 of the 3rd string. So all together. Cool. And then it goes. Let's slow that down. I'm going from 5 at the 2nd string again. It's going 5, 6, 5. And then we just work back chromatically on the 3rd string. So it's going to go 7, 6, 5. Now at the end of that phrase, I want to get my ring finger to 7th of the 3rd string and slide from 7 to 9. And then hit 8 of the 1st string. So there's a string skip between those two strings. Alright, let's try the whole thing from the start of the section a little slower. Cool. Now the next bit that follows that is this. Alright, let's take that slowly. The start of that's going to start from 8 of the 4th string. Now you notice that I'm using my ring and my pinky just to get me more in position for the next section. So I'm going 8, 7, 8 on the 4th string, and then I go to 5 of the 3rd, and then it goes 7, 6, 7 on the 3rd string. So it goes 7, 6, 7, and then that goes to 5 of the 2nd string. So it goes. Then it goes. So what I'm doing here is going 6, 5, 6 on the 2nd string, and then going to 5 of the 1st string. So it's very sectionalized, this bit. You just sort of got little chunks of 4 there. Then it goes. So at the end of that, I'm playing 6, 5, 6, 5 on the 1st string, and then after that it goes. Alright, let's slow that down. I'm going from 8 of the 2nd string again, so I'm going 8, 6, 5, and then 7 of the 3rd string. Then I jump back down to the 6th fret that I had on the 2nd string with my middle finger, and it goes. What I'm doing there again is working with that 6, 5 on the 2nd string, and then that little chromatic thing we had before. So 6, 5 on the 2nd, and then 7, 6, 5 on the 3rd. Alright, let's try the whole section a little slower. The start of the 2nd section is going to start off with this little arpeggio thing. If you want to, you can sort of do a dead note sweep, which I think is rather sassy. Anyway, so we're going 5, 8, 5 on the 1st string, and then I'm going 6 of the 2nd into 7 of the 3rd, and then I want to go to 7 of the 4th, and then back down to 7 of the 3rd. So all together. That makes sense. It's sort of a D minus 7th arpeggio, and then we go. What I'm doing here is I'm playing 3 of the 5th string, and then sliding from 5 to 7 with my ring, and then skipping down to 5 with the 3rd string. I think it sounds pretty cool if those two notes ring out together. So all together. And then the end of that is this. So it's kind of, I'm not counting a specific number of strums, I'm just trying to do a neat tremolo the best I can, the fastest I can. So the first little chord that we've got there is 3 of the 2nd and the 3rd string. And the same thing on 5 of the 3rd and the 2nd string. So got a smidge tongue-tied there. Anyway, so those are both major intervals, and then we've got 2 minor ones. What I've got here is 6 of the 2nd and 7 of the 3rd, and then I drag that over 2 frets to 8 of the 2nd and 9 of the 3rd. So, okay, that's all section 2. Let's put it together a little slower. Let's have a look at the 3rd section. I want to start off with hammering from 5 to 8 on the 5th string, and then 5 to 7 on the 3rd. And then when I get to the 1st string, I'm doing a hammer into a pull-off. So I'm doing 5, 8, 5, all in one pick. So all together thus far. And then after that I go. So I jump back up to 7 of the 3rd string, back down to 5 of the 1st. Okay, and then it goes into this part. And then from that 12th fret we'll lead into some arpeggio stuff. But let's slow this next part down. What I'm doing here is I'm going 7, 5, 7 on the 3rd string, and then 5, 6 on the 2nd, and then I hit 8 of the 1st string. Okay, now I do that 5, 6, 8 again. This time I'm going to do a hammer on from 5 to 6 on the 2nd string, and then I want to hit 8 of the 1st string with my ring finger and slide that to 12. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's try the whole thing from the start, a little slower. Okay, as soon as I've slid into 12, I work up an arpeggio and then sort of back down it in a different way. The initial slide will hit 12, and then I hit 13 of the 2nd string and 10 of the 3rd. And then as soon as I hit 10 of the 3rd, I've just got a flat finger that works down the 2nd and the 1st string. So all together. That last bit, text. That last bit was 10 of the 3rd, 10 of the 2nd, 10 of the 1st. Cool. Then the next bit goes. What I'm doing there is sliding into 15 of the 1st string and then hitting 13, 12. Okay, and then the next bit is just working up a small arpeggio. I want to start from 13 of the 2nd, move down to 12 of the 1st and back up to 13 again, and then to 12 of the 3rd string. So it'll go all together, and the end of that is chromatic. So I'm going 13, 14, and then because I'm out of fingers and I don't necessarily want to use the pinky, I just use my ring again. So I go 13, 14, 15. So let's try from the start a little slower again. Then we work up this pentatonic run. Alright, what I'm doing for the first couple of notes is straight up the pentatonic in D minor, obviously. I'm playing 13-10 on the 1st and 2nd string. Okay, and then I hit 12 of the 3rd string twice. I hit it once as a regular note, and then when I hit it again a second time, I just go in and out of that blues note from 12 to 13 back to 12. And then after that I go. So after the little slidey thing, I go to 10 of the 3rd and then 12 of the 4th. And then I do a flat finger, which will roll onto 12 of the 3rd string. So I go. And then I resolve that on 10 of the 3rd string. So it goes. Okay, and there's this last bit. Now the shapes here are pretty strange. This is the only way I could figure out how to get these triplets. I tried to try and do it that way and it just wasn't sounding right. But three notes of string with that pentatonic idea seem to help those triplets kind of roll a little better. So what I've got here is the same sort of finger spacing on both strings. We've just got to move around the frets. So I'm playing 5, 7, 10 on the third, and then the same shape going 8, 10, 13 on the second. I'll try it again. And then the last bit is just working up a regular pentatonic. So we've got these two silly shapes, and then this last pentatonic bit, which is 10, 13, 10 on the first, and then just working down, which is going 13, 10 on the second string, and then 12, 10 on the third. So it'll go. Alright, let's put all of section 3 together thus far a little slower. Let's have a look at the fourth section. Just going to start off with this little part. Let's slow that down. So the first 5 notes, it sounds like it's working up a major scale. I'm starting from 10 of the 4th string, I'm going 10, 12, and then 9, 10, 12 on the 3rd, and then just 10 of the 2nd string, and then it goes. So what I'm doing here is just going forwards and back. I'm going 9, 10, 12 on the 1st string, and then 10, 9, just sort of reversing that idea. And then it goes back to 8, and then we hit 8 again. So I go. So I hit 8 a second time, and then I do a pull off from 10 to 8. And then I want to do a slide from 10 to 12. So that whole last little chunk from 8 a little slower. Okay, and then we go into this part. So what I do here is I play 15 and then 12 twice, and then I hit 12 one more time, and then do a pull off from 13 to 12. So I'll do that all again a little bit slower. And then at the end of that, I'm playing 15, 13, 15 on the 2nd string. So that little chunk a bit slower. Okay, and the end of that goes. This is working up the D minor pentatonic again. We're going to be starting from 10 of the 2nd string, just working our way straight up. So it's 10 of the 2nd string, 12, 10 on the 3rd, and 12, 10 on the 4th. Okay, then we jump back down to the 3rd string, and then go back up to the 4th again. So it'll go 12, 10 on the 3rd, and then just 12 of the 4th again. So that whole little chunk from the D minor pentatonic. And the end of it goes. So I finish that pentatonic, and then I go 2 more of the 12th fret of the 4th string, and then to 10, and then back to 12 again. Okay, and then we work into the next part. Whoa. That's better. This bit's a little bit strange, a bit tricky. We're sort of sweeping in the first bit, and then we've just got to back pick that legato. It's a little strange to me, I'm not used to this pick business, but anyway. What I'm doing for the first one is the small sweep I'll be doing is 7 of the 4th, and then 5 of the 3rd and the 2nd strings. And then I do the back pick on 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then I'm just legatoing that back. So I'm going 8, 6, 5, and then I do exactly the same idea over here. So I'm going 12 of the 4th, and then 2 10s for the sweep, so 10 on the 2nd and the 3rd, and then I back pick 13, and then that goes a pull off to 11, and then a pull off to 10. So as you can see, they're the same shape twice, and then as soon as I finish on 10 of the 2nd, I hit 10 again, and then I want to hammer 10 to 11, and then 11 to 13, and then a slight bend on 12 of the 1st string. So we go. Okay, that's all of the 2nd section. Let's do it again a little slower. so the last section, there's obviously some harmonies and a bit of call and response action going on. So to prevent the probability of people asking me what both parts are, I'll just show you the lowest one first and then the highest one, and then you can decide which one you want to do by yourself or with a friend. The first one goes. Alright, let's slow that down. So you'll be going the same thing twice. It's going 13, 12, 10 on the first string, and then it goes. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing it a third time, which is 13, 12, 10, and then I want to move up to 11. So it's this weird accidental chromatic note. So a bit slower. Okay, and then we do roughly the same idea. I'm going 12, 10, 8, and then I do it a third time, and the chromatic note is going from 8 to 9. When I take that exact idea back again, but this one, instead of going to the chromatic note, will just end on 8 of the first string. So it'll go 10, 8, 6 2 times, and the third time 10, 8, 6, 8. And then it goes, let's slow that down. I'm going 10, 8, 6, and then a flat finger on 6 of the second string. And then I just reverse 6, 8, 10 on the first string. And then I bring up to 12 of the first string, and roughly the same idea. So I'm going 12, 10, 8, 8 of the second, and then 8, 10, 12 on the first. So let's try this whole section a little slower. Okay, now the high bit, which is the bit that I was playing before, will go. So it's just 2 quick little arpeggios. I'm doing a pull off from 17 to 13 and then 15 to the string above. Okay, the next one is from 15 to 12 and then 13 to the string above. And then the next one is the same thing, about 2 frets back. So this one was going from 13 to 10 and then 11 of the second string. So it'll go. And then it goes. Sort of the same rhythm and pattern to harmonise with the other parts. So it'll go. So what I'm doing here is going 13, 12, 10, and then back forwards to 13 again, and then we're reversing back. So it'll go 1, 2, 3. So there should be 7 notes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I go to 11 of the second string, and then after that I want to go 10, 12, 13 again. So it'll go. Okay, and then I bring it over to 15 of the first string and it'll go. So what I'm doing here is 15, 13, 12, and then 13 of the second string. And then after that, 12, 13, 15. Alright, so let's try this second harmony again. And that's the Sidewinder solos. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. I'll catch you real soon.